Joe Budden podcast is a toxic Chipotle.
Sucker no more.
That's sucker. I'm not calling you. I'm saying that's sucker shit. I can take that. I'm not calling you. I'm saying that's sucker shit. You're not a sucker, but that's
and I'm
sucker
telling you,
shit.
you say that sucker shit, I take it like you saying it to me. So I'm saying.
What I'm saying.
Let's do this. Let's both calm down. No.
Stop doing that.
No, I'm saying let's both calm down. Let's both calm down. Because I'm telling you right now, the way you talking to me, I'm taking a different way. So let's both calm down.
So what does that mean, though?
I'm saying let's talk like brothers.
You don't gotta say that.
I'm saying because what you and you ain't gotta say that sucker shit. So I'm saying let's
You're
both
not a sucker, but I said the behavior.
Then we good. To me. Then we good. Then we good. Now let's get back to the show.
But that's why you saying that?
Because when you say that sucker shit, I take that as disrespectful. And I take that as to me. To me. So I'm trying to tell you.
But there's a lot of shit you say that we take disrespectful, but for the
and it's not you say that I take disrespectful. I'm not gonna talk about it on air because I'm not you.
I'm afraid.
So at the end of the day, I'm not you. This is what you do, and then I'm gonna leave you alone. No, Imani, I'm not trying. I'm not potting. I'm not potting. What the fuck is you doing? Are we talking or we potting?
Y'all are making.
We can talk outside or we can pot. Then let's talk outside.
Mark and Flip.
No, don't. That.
Mark and Flip. It's not.
Every time you get mad, you talk like they and they not.
I didn't call you.
No, you call me a sucker. That's the same shit. Let's talk outside.
What up, words? Your boy Challz Brown back again talking facts. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe, hit notification bell. Keep sending those Cashaps to CLBMG. Join the membership gang. Listen, I was going to call it a toxic McDonald's, right? Everybody worked at McDonald's and they know how those break rooms get. They know how those management situations get. But I'm going to go and be honest that Joe Budden podcast is a little step up from a McDonald's, right? Little higher tax bracket. So I'm going to go with Chipotle, even though McDonald's owns both of them, right? I'm going to go with Joe Budden podcast is a toxic Chipotle break room where everybody's out to get each other. We've all worked at most of us have worked at a fast food or a place where it's dog eat dog and you got from the top down where it's completely toxic and the management itself is toxic and they pit the workers against themselves and the workers come to work every day stressed out. They make good money so they don't want to lose their jobs and they go at each other's throat and they spend a lot of time monkeying around and vying for the boss's affection where they got to try to down each other with the initial job. The entire structure of the Joe Budden podcast is to see who can out-clown who and who can gain favor of the fans of the show and of the boss himself, the one and only toxic Avenger. And I told you, I only do superheroes, anti-heroes and super villains, and Joe Budden 100% makes my villain list. I know I have become the minority in that case because whereas it used to be a lot more people like me that didn't jack with Joe Budden because he's super toxic and extremely self-centered and opinionated and likes to stir up the beef and the controversy. I've known Joe Budden for a while. I keep telling you I've been a promoter of music and I did several cities with Joe Budden, so I got to see Joe Budden firsthand. I got to see how actually toxic it can be from beginning to end. I've done videos on my other channels about my experiences with Slaughterhouse, Joe Budden, Royce the 5'9", King Crooked Eye, and my guy, what's the last guy? I'm bugging out. Joel Ortiz, all right? So, end of the day, I was around when Slaughterhouse, before they even got their first deal, and I was asked to do a 3-city tour with them. That wasn't the only time I dealt with them, but end of the day, that tour, that Joe Budden Slaughterhouse tour was one of the most toxic things. It got so bad, I had to write a full letter, email to all the managers involved about how bad that thing was getting. It was an extremely one of my worst experiences as a promoter. I'm just going to be honest. And from Joe Budden on down, everyone involved with that, not the rappers, but the people, the so-called managers behind the scenes, a lot of nonsense carried on. So I've always had a bitter taste in my mouth when it comes to Joe Budden. I've told many stories about this, but I'm not going to get into all that today. Let's just say I don't look at Joe Budden with fondness, right? But I'm not mad. I just know that the place he comes from is a very, it's dysfunctional. And Joe Budden carries a lot of baggage with him and he spews that baggage onto the world. And one day Joe Budden learned that I don't need to rap on these microphones. I could just talk because I'm just going to be honest. They weren't making crazy money at Slaughterhouse. Let's just be honest. So he learned that I can just talk and spew this stuff that I think every day. People want to hear it because we're in a world right now where negativity sells. Let's just keep it a buck. And the more negative you can be, the more money you might make. I think Joe Budden is making something like $20 million a month. I may be lowball. It's something ridiculous, but you guys keep wanting Joe Budden to go back to rapping. He has no reason to. He makes more money doing this, right? But he has cultivated a cast and a culture with that podcast that makes a lot of money. Let's just be honest. That's why Rory and Maul are gone, because he was doing the same thing Matt Hoffa was doing, keeping all the money for himself, trying to find more ways to squeeze them out. And when I started this channel, one of my things was diving in and delving into the Joe Budden, Rory and Maul situation. And I found a lot of fault with Joe Budden, the way he carried things and the way he fired them unceremoniously. And he fired that other girl over the phone or through a text or something like. So I've been on Joe Budden's bad list as a people who don't agree with how he does business for a very long time. I'm talking about Love and Hip Hop days when he was doing this, that, and the third. I think Joe Budden has a very long history of extremely questionable and bad behavior. If you do half a search, you can find that Joe Budden has a real long history of awful things. But we are in an upside down world, gang. We are in a world where people, their memories are short. And if you can entertain them, gang, you can make them laugh, you can make them cry, you can make them want to know what you want to say next. All of that stuff goes out the window. I'm not going to sit here and rehash all of the bad doings or the evil deeds of Joe Budden. There is a lot. But end of the day, I've realized, I've learned to say, I'm like, from this administration on down, we got he who shall not be named God elected to office. So that tells you everything you need to know. This world is in a different frame of mind, and they don't really want to care about morality and righteousness and this, that, and the third. Not saying I'm coming off righteous. What I'm saying is a lot of the things that Joe Budden is accused or has been referenced in regards to has been completely wiped out the map. They're all there, but nobody cares, right? Nobody cares about the misdoings and misgivings of Joe Budden. They just want to be entertained. So I've chilled out on the videos of going about Joe Budden's podcast, is this, that, and the third, because it seems like it only gets more successful as it goes on. The worse he treats people, the worse it gets, the more screaming and yelling he gets himself to do. And those people on that show, like, you brought in Queen's Flip for the only purpose is to have people screaming and yelling. There is no other way to bring in Queen's Flip in. And salute to Queen's Flip. I got introduced to Queen's Flip from YouTube, of him doing these semi-pranks or skits and him just ripping off his shirt and people fighting him and slapping him and beating him up. And he was always jumping on Joe Budden back. And so that's why I couldn't understand why Joe Budden, he jumping on Jim Jones, jumping on everybody. So I didn't understand why Joe Budden even had him on there, because I'm like, they look like they don't even like each other. But I used to see him running up on these different rappers. So that's how I found him, all obnoxious, he's loud, screaming in the car. I'm like, damn, what's going on with gang? But it was funny, so I followed it. So with that being said, the only reason you would hire a Queen's Flip is one of two. One of them is you think he's going to come and add something to the show as in regards to excitement or ignorance, right? Or the other, you're scared of him, you want to give him a job so you stop coming and you can just leave you alone. But I'm going to go with the first, that he thought he's going to bring some type of edge to the show that the show was missing. Because if we're going to be honest, man, Joe Budden by himself talking is not entertaining. Let's just be honest. You only got but so much of that you can take. So you need these different people, and it seems like it gets more and more and more and more. It's like damn near 7 people in the room now. So what we're getting now is you're getting all these different. It's a master class, gang. It's a master class of, I want to say, it's skillful and willful ignorance, because they don't really. This group of people would not be friends. Let's just be honest. You wouldn't walk into a group. You wouldn't walk into a room or a lounge or a regular place of business, and this group of people that he's amassed would not be cool. They would not be kicking it. They would not do things together as a collective. They are literally there because a lot of them are polar opposites, and they're going to clash. Joe has these people there to clash. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And when you can effectively clash and keep yourself in the zeitgeist, you're going to get kicked off the show or you're going to leave. Melissa Ford, right? If you start taking this stuff too personal and don't understand that you're not bigger than the program, you are the program. You are there to get cracked on. You are there to be made fun of. You are there to clash for 3-4 hours every single time that we go live at the behest of Joe Budden. And he's the wicked witch, like sitting there just watching. He's the damn the damn wizard, right? Just sitting there, a Wizard of Oz guy behind the curtain, just watching and making sure you do your job. And he's looking at he's reading the chats, he's going into messages. He's looking to see if the fans are engaging with you negatively or positively, right? He already had a whole show when he brought Mark Lamont Hill in there. He already had a whole show, whole podcast. The whole thing was already popping. I think they had 5 people on screen at the same time, with a nigga in the off the screen camera. So it's like they had a whole podcast. Why'd you bring him in? Because guess what? Engagement. He's going to shake it up and stir up that thing. Joe knows how to read that room. But the only problem is it's a toxic thing where he's not trying to shake it up for excitement or entertainment. He's trying to shake it up to make it more toxic because that's going to get more eyeballs. I personally do not watch Joe Budden podcast. Never have, never will. But at the end of the day, I learn more about that thing than probably you people that's sitting there watching it, because every single day my timeline is something about Joe Budden podcast. Y'all can't escape it. Twitter, Facebook, wherever. Every day I know more about what's going on in the show than the average person, because I got to pay attention to all that stuff. They feed it to me constantly, and I know who did what with who. And I watch The Stop. Shout out to The Stop, right? He's always reporting on it. I got him in my thing. I watch it. I don't need to watch 3 hours. I can just go watch The Shop and he can tell you what the hell they doing, right? But at the end of the day, any fool can sit back and see that whole show is based around how negative he can make these people get against each other. It's not against him, right? Because he's the one that can fire you. So they got to do everything they can to please him and make him feel like, yeah, he's sitting back pupperizing the whole thing, right? So I know that right now, people do not care about the end. They don't care about the means. They just care about the end. So people don't care that Joe Budden is sitting up there calculating who could come in and that's going to clash with that guy or that girl or this, that, and the third. Who could come in? It's not really about the subject matter, gang. I need y'all to understand that. They just need a subject to kick off all the animosity in the room that's always there. As somebody who doesn't watch the show, I watch The Stop. The Stop this guy gonna have content for the rest of his life, because they don't have nothing but animosity. And who's about to leave? Someone's about to leave the show. Who's next to leave the podcast? Like, it's always somebody about to leave, somebody on the bubble to come in, somebody's not getting enough screen time. It's always who wasn't there at the podcast. So it's always nonsense. So as I'm looking at it, right, the engagement for this show, it's never, when you see that they go viral, it's rarely about the actual content of what they're talking about. This latest thing with Mark Lamont Hill, who is a scholar, if you look up who is Lamont Hill, he's considered a activist, a scholar, this, that, and the third, graduated and all that. This guy's a smart guy. See him on MSNBC with a suit on. But this is what happens when the money is better than your integrity. Now, I'm not saying one thing or another, but Mark Lamont Hill, let's just be honest. If we're gonna really have this conversation, he's too smart to be on that show. And every single way, the show's beneath them, but he gets paid to be there more than anywhere else. Joe Budden damn near took him on because he wasn't really doing nothing outside of the stuff that he was getting. He wasn't getting this kind of money, let's say that. And Academics was like trying to bury this guy. Academics is pissed that Joe Budden picked him up. But Joe Budden picked him up to spite Academics, in my opinion. Not to mention that he's so much smarter than them, he condescends them. Now, I'm going to tell you some real shit that nobody's talking about. Mark Lamont Hill is so smart, he knows not to do this shit, but he's encouraged to. He knows not to talk down to these people. You think Mark Lamont Hill goes anywhere else on earth and talks down to people? You think he does that? Or was he brought in by Joe Budden to talk down to them to piss them off? Mark Lamont Hill talks down to these people constantly. You wouldn't do it in polite society. You don't even need to be told not to do this. Mark Lamont Hill does not need to be told not to talk to these people like this. Not to talk. The Queen's Flip ain't the brightest bulb in the bunch, gang. Everybody knows that. But so that would seem you would talk to him with even more kid gloves. You would be more soothing, right? You would be more dumbed down. Mark Lamont Hill knows that. But behind the scenes, someone is telling them, ratchet up. We just podding. They got a lot of soft terms now to make being an asshole okay, right? We're podding, we're talking, da-da-da. So Mark Lamont Hill, everybody there, let's just be honest, mostly he's not arguing with scholars and activists, okay? These are people straight off the street that have little to no insider knowledge on the things that he studies for a living, right? This guy really has a deep dive in these things because he's going to be debating with people who know these things inside and out. So when they try to debate him, they're already coming in handicapped because Mark Lamont Hill is way too seasoned and way too vested in a lot of these topics that he's discussing, especially when they get into politics or black things of that nature. This guy went to school for this shit. Parks and Ish and Ice, whoever the fuck it is, none of them are going to win. They're not going to win an intellectual debate with him. They're just not going to do it. But he's there for them to try and get mad. The anger is the fuck. It's like fucking. I always keep talking about Star Wars, but it's like the anger. You get anger. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to the dark side. So the more angry they get, it feeds the Joe Budden podcast. It feeds him because when they get angry, they get tense. When they get tense, they want to start lashing out. That is energy. They are feeding the force over there, and no one gets more fatter from all that force, right, than Joe Budden. Joe Budden made this thing. He makes it toxic for a reason. He's not going to bring in 5 people that get along well and they don't cut each other off and they finish each other's sentences and they make each other laugh. Like, he's not going to do that. He's going to be like, I'm going to bring him in because he's going to make all them other ones get a little bit testy, right? And they're going to actually, he's going to be the bad guy. And Mark Lamont Hill knows he's going to be the bad guy. I don't know if those other people know that he was brought there for that. They probably do, but they still let it bother them. He's brought there to be the kick in the pants that make these people want to, quote unquote, like Joe say, up their game, right? The podcast. Joe's looking at numbers every night. Somebody with that kind of money, that kind of position, Joe is going to look at the numbers every night. And as he starts to see things slipping, plus he's in those spaces, he's in this, that, and the third, you actually say, why a guy like Joe Budden would ever be in a Twitter space? Like, yeah, think about it. It's a reason. He's in there because he wants to know what's going on so he can move forward with the show. Everything, the whole shit is fluid to me. It's always moving. So it's always a thing where he's always trying to see, okay, they're always testing. Is this working? Is that working? Da-da-da. It's a fluid operation, and you could be in or out. Right? Your position on that couch is very unstable. It appears, right? And these guys make a lot. They make really good money, gang. Like, they make more than you could put 6 of us in the same. You could take 6 of our salaries, and one of them motherfuckers making more than all 6 of us combined. So they really not trying to lose that job. And you know what it take to make a motherfucker leave? You know what it take for Melissa Ford to leave? A very toxic environment, right? And once you get beat up so much, it ain't enough money in the world. We've all had a job that was just really good. We liked it, but there's somebody there that just effing with us constantly. And every day they just want to fuck with you to this and that third. Or your boss is worse. Like, matter of fact, you might have a job where everybody's awful. The pay is good, everybody sucks. Imagine that. So that's what, I know you people have all y'all. I'm not even gonna get into who's right, who's wrong, da-da-da. I'm not even gonna do that because the simple fact of the matter is the whole shit is set up. It's like arguing about Love and Hip Hop. Like, the shit scripted. Like why would you argue about Love and Hip Hop? Why would you? I cut off Love and Hip Hop probably 10 years ago, gang. I'm just going to be honest. So I already know I'm not going to watch something that's going to make me mad. But a lot of people, they will watch Joe Budden from beginning to end. Like I said, I know I am the minority now. You guys love this thing. You go on, you can't get enough of it. Like I said, the shop is going to be eating off this shit for the rest of his life. This thing gets so many views and so many people listening to it. Spotify is making money. Patreon is not even enough. You guys don't even have enough of the free shit. You go to the Patreon to pay to see this shit. And it's like, he got to keep this thing going. He got to keep the wheels on the bus go round and round. So we're at a point now where, okay, not only are we recording one show, we're recording another show. Then we got the after show. Then we got the shows with behind the scenes where these motherfuckers are fighting. That's a lot of content. You can't have people that actually like each other and get along. He gotta cause dissension and division. And that's where the show is at. Where it's a bad McDonald's, a bad Chipotle break room, where dissension is like the goddamn Squid Games. Right? It's the Squid Games, just ain't nobody dying. We seen people come and go. We seen him, what I've seen his fans do, he will treat somebody awful. Awful. He would treat somebody awful, and the fans will make it that person's wrong. You know what I'm saying? So I just stopped. Like, I don't even talk about the Joe Budden podcast no more because people are so locked in. They love it. They love the negativity. They love the way Joe gets down. They love how Joe can sit there, do no wrong. Everything he said, even if he'll make up the most ridiculous narrative, do the most ridiculous thing, right? They come in your comments and they're going to defend Joe. It's almost cult-like. It is what it is. I'm never going to be cool with it. It's just like I've softened my stance on it. I'm like, I'm not as anti-Joe. I'm trying to soften my stance on a lot of people, gang. I'm just going to be honest. I'm trying to soften my stance on almost everybody because there is no black and white these days. I just try to keep it a buck, make my videos, and keep it moving. But there is so much gray area in regards to all these different personalities and these influencers. You're never going to get everyone to agree that somebody's a piece of trash, right? At the end of the day, once a person makes enough money, they aren't a piece of trash to most people out here. If you can make enough money, you got here Dame Dash talking about, yo, the president sued, he declared bankruptcy 6 times, but he's a monetary genius. He basically mastered the game of economics. And I'm like, he's still trash though. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't matter because people don't care about your morality. They just care about how much money you can make. And that's what it's looking like with this whole JBP situation. It's a lot of things that Budden has done, in my opinion, that would never make me want to be a part of that situation. But it's some people out there, they don't care about nothing but the money. So as long as that show is ranking at the highest point, this, that, and the third, they're going to watch it. They're going to tune in. They're not going to care that it's toxic. They're not going to care that these guys almost came to blows. These guys almost fought over who makes the most money or who makes the least money or who's a sucker, this, that, and the third. It's all animosity that's driven by the need to impress Joe Budden. He's sitting up at the top of it, watching them fight each other. Right? They got this thing called, they call it King of the Mountain. Right? And everybody tries to climb the mountain and keep pushing everybody down until there's only one guy up there. Well, Joe's at the top of the mountain. So they're not even fighting to get up there because they can't. So they're fighting to get halfway to just be close to the mountain and sit near the top. They're not going to sit on the top. They're just going to sit near the top. They fighting for the seats. It's like that game fucking with the musical chairs. Maybe a chair might be there. Maybe it won't be. We're going to see who can push each other out. It's like, it's sad to see grown adults being tinkered and used like this just for money. It's just, if this was any other situation, you guys would be having a real problem with it. But since Joe Budden is entertaining and he seems to come off like lighthearted to some degree, I just understand what it is in a bigger level. I see that Joe Budden is really conniving. He's using these people against each other and he's making them feel like tomorrow could be their last day, right? And he wants to show what he wants to show, and then other stuff he won't show. It's like he gets to choose if this goes out, if this don't go out. It's Joe Budden's decision and his alone. And that's what he's always wanted. But at the end of the day, I just feel like as a society, it's showing us what we like, what we accept. And a lot of things, there's no black and white anymore. There's nothing good or bad. It's just, is it profitable? Right now, it's like, it's throwing babies into a river and trying to see if they're going to make it past crocodiles. Is it profitable? Does it make money? All right, well, fucking then throw the babies. It's like people are doing anything for $1. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's involved, what's involved. I guarantee you, Diddy will get out. And if he starts being entertained again, you motherfuckers will be entertaining that shit. I'm just going to be fucking honest. We've seen a lot of people get out of jail and a lot of their crimes and things of that nature kind of become fuzzy. What did he really do again? Right? Martha Stewart went to fucking jail, right? What'd she do again? She's still making cookies and shit on TV. So it's like, everything gets fuzzy after a while, right? And people they don't really remember that you did some criminal shit, right? So end of the day, where we are, and we listen, like I said, I ain't got to tell you, Joe Budden got a lot of shaky stuff in his past, but nobody remembers that. They just click on the show, watch it, and entertain themselves. And I'm going to leave it at that, man. That shit is a real toxic Chipotle break room where everybody's scrambling, trying to make sure they got their job and trying to put you out of yours. And to me, I can't co-sign it, but I don't watch the shit. I unfollowed Joe Budden on Twitter years ago, like probably fucking, I don't even know how many years ago I unfollowed Joe Budden. I can't deal with the hypocrisy, but that's just me, right? That's just me. You do your thing. End of the day, listen, I have no real problems with the situation, but I feel like as these people degrade themselves and come to blows, this, that, and the third, just remember, there's a puppet master making sure that this stuff happens. It doesn't happen in a vacuum. This stuff is orchestrated to make sure that these almost fights and these screaming matches continue. All right, as you watch it, understand that you're being pupperized too. All right? And on that note, I'm out of here, man. CLBMG, I'm off the soapbox for a while, man. It is what it is. I know some people going to be like, man, we don't care none of that shit. We like Joe Budden. It is what it is. All right, listen. Head on over to black-yeti.com. Let them know who sent you. They ship all over the continental U.S. Also, every Wednesday night, we go live, me, TJ, and Fliz on The What Show. Tap in. Let us know you in the comments section. All right, I'm going to catch y'all on that flip side. Peace.
Look, mission impossible to drop a few lines without dropping old times when Southern Hill was still a gold mine. When pistol grips was my shit and I sold mine. When Alias was not a show and they told mine. Elevate your mind with high quality THC infused products. BlackYeti.com. Black-Yeti.com.
CLB.
Get my coat, get my sheepskin, grab my wallet, get my pocket knife, and get that hat right there. We out. Grab my pocket knife too. Let's go. When I first came to the city, niggas didn't believe me. I just wanted to join a team and throw assist pass easily. 6 man off the bench, alley-oop pass freely. Suit up for one game and hope a scout might see me. But nah, niggas is greedy, wasn't rocking with him. Unplugged the scoreboard, put a lock on the gym. Told me to power forward, point guard at the rim. And left me with no center and a ball full of phlegm. Not knowing that I'm a dog, a Rottweiler within. With the heart of a pit bull that don't bark for pretend. My bites cut deep, break the bone and the skin. With the level of hustlenomics you do not comprehend. So first I took a block down on the west side end. And then secured a spot with some goons and some kin. And then sent out some flyers, let the games begin. And in 6 months time, the city like that's him. Oh yeah, he the one that moved the hustle to the burbs. And yeah, he the one that knocked the hustlers off the curb. And yeah, he the one that set up shop without a word. And he the one that got it cracking. And all he did was rapping by the Hooters. I kept killers from being shooters. Put a mic in a thug's hand, now he loyal like past fans. Take a man off the streets past the needles and crack cans. Promise mama to keep him safe, then put some food in his face and he'll kill for you. But I don't need him for that. Click like, click share, tell them bitches we back. Share the whole location, tell them niggas where we at. Cause we out here and we ain't the cheese, we the trap.